we still push heavy in inserting our sovereign rights and our sovereignty. Uh, I guess the politics surrounding that are a little bit different. Everybody's like, Tele-Medical, Mohawks. And so I'm getting this feeling that we're just a little bit different than everybody else. Or maybe a little further ahead. We have easily 40 plus stores in our community. When we made our first push for sovereignty, we did it in numbers. So the idea was band together as many as we possibly could, and our strength comes from numbers. Other than that, I guess if anybody else has any more questions throughout the day from me, I'm here for a little bit, and I'll answer whatever questions I can.
So, do you all have First Nation partners? Or are you all private enterprises?
I
And
have,
can you tell me?
I have no partners. My franchise is like so. When it comes to smoke signals and the Indigenous Cup, I'm the sole owner. My franchises were offered free as long as they were going to Indigenous owners on Indigenous land.
And can you all just let me know what your relationship is in the community, in the local communities that you operate in? What kind of relationship you do have with the governments that is it a good working relationship? Is it challenging working relationship?
So we're also currently, we just got licensed. So MCA, Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, was one of the first to implement their rules and regulations and actually, tell Canada, hey, this is our people, this is our community, which means our rules and our regulations. So in Tyendinaga, no, the people beat the politicians to the punch. So we as a people stood up first and said, this is what we're doing, back off. And then politically, like it's supposed to happen, our elected system, chief and council, took the wishes of the people to Canada. And at this point, I would have to say they have our back. And so they're in support and moving along with us while we come to some rules and regulations that are going to benefit, the whole community.
Yeah, and what I like about what smoke signals is doing is, I heard the guy up here talking about inherent rights. And if you hear his story, that, when people talk about Mohawks, they're like, oh, the bad boy club, don't mess with them. They're going to be running you politically down, And I'm sorry you guys have that stigma.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
But, they're just practicing their inherent right. And when you go down the history and when he talks about the Tuscarora, you want to talk that little...
Well, that's what you were. So he had asked me yesterday how culturally cannabis is connected to us, and so I had briefly explained to him that we started out as the Five Nations Confederacy. Later towards the end, one of the last that we adopted in to become the Six Nations Confederacy was the Tuscaroras, which are the people of the hemp. So they have that fancy shirt, but at the exact same time, not only is it a part of our history, because the non-native people have a written culture, they wrote that into their culture as well. And so whether it be, in their history books, it's there. You just have to look for it.
But also, too, the continuing story that always had happened to Indigenous people is they came to not explore as they used, they came to take. And then when they met a nation that is spiritually connected to the plant, that's what they used for their ropes and etc., for travel, for their ships and stuff. So it's kind of like, the history books when it comes to us. It downplays their benefit if we destroy their culture or tradition or who they are. We can take everything they got. So it's kind of now we're in a position where we're all meeting here and we're trying to resolve or find a solution in how to work this whole new platform to heal communities, but heal every Canadian. And there's rules and regulations, there's political statutes that are out there, but there is sovereignty. And how are we exercising that? Are we giving it up, allowing the government to just, walk through us again? And these are the thoughts and minds that come from a lot of people, especially the Mohawk. You can't mess with the Mohawk. So the value they have for us when it comes to sovereignty, it's very important that we support them. But then it's very important to support others who have a different access.
Right.
And
So Rob has a different experience in his community with what chief and council are doing and what the community is doing as far as controlling cannabis.
Yeah, absolutely. We did create a video. I'm not sure at what point we should play that. I was told that at about 12 minutes. But the video, it basically shows what we're doing in our community. And when I got into this, I've got some other businesses unrelated to cannabis. And when I got into the cannabis industry, I tried looking outside the box and looking at what perceptions people would have in our own community and outside of our community as well. So looking at that, I went at this business trying to appease all those people and create relationships that were better for our community and better for our people. So I went to Chief and Council and I made a presentation to them showing them why I was wanting to do this and what I was planning to do. So the Chief yesterday mentioned about creating a balance, and I believe I'm very close to finding that balance. We give a ton back to our community. We support local youth groups, youth sports, we support the church, our local women's shelter. We paid for people's funerals. We've done all kinds of different things for our community that have been very, very positive. And this is money that's all come from the cannabis industry. And, I grew up without a lot of money. My basement was, gravel, stone. And I kind of became materialist because of that. I worked hard for everything I got. And I wanted to keep that and, show what I'd accumulated. And I was really proud of that. And since I've been in this cannabis industry, I've had a complete shift in my thought process. Now it's, I don't get a lot of meaning from the things I have. I get more meaning from giving back to the people and, creating opportunities for our people and prosperity. And, so that's what I'm really focused on doing. And, when the colonists first came and we saw them with their trailers, and the horses, and they had all kinds of stuff. And, we looked at those people and we're like, wow, look how poor those people are. They have to keep all this stuff and carry it around with them. That's not our way of life. Our way is the good life, and it's not about material items. It's about doing good for our people and giving back to the community. So with that, Chief and Council gave us a tacit blessing to carry on with the dispensary. And since then, we've just been moving forward really fast and doing a lot of positive things. We actually have our own mental addictions counselor on site for our own staff. We have over 30 staff now, 90% of which are Indigenous. And of course, we have our own issues. So we have our own counselors, and we're a team, we're a family. So if someone has an issue, one of our employees has an issue, they have all kinds of shoulders to lean on, all kinds of, we're all rocks for each other, looking out for each other. And that's what it's about. So it's, Medicine Wheel Natural Healing. It's not just about providing medicine to people that are coming in. It's a place of healing. So it's a place where people can come and feel comfortable and talk about their problems, and we can help them work through that. And with that as well, we're developing a program called the Conscious Lifestyle Design. And this is all based around making decisions in your life to improve your life, to improve your standard of life. So it's exercise, nutrition, different things like that, and reaching out to other people and helping other people as well.
Alex, I have two questions. One, do you have interaction with Indigenous governance in your Compassionate Club? Is there interaction between your business and Indigenous government? And the second question is if the market has changed for you at all since October 17th. Is there reverb? Yeah. If you have any interactions with Indigenous governments or Indigenous governments?
Yeah, yes, I do. So when I first opened up the dispensary in Victoria, British Columbia, nobody was doing it back then. It was Compassion Clubs, but there's only maybe 2 or 3 of us in all of British Columbia. So I was all about my community. I opened it up two blocks from the police station. I just opened up this dispensary for my community. I educated them. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew about the risks as well as the benefits so they can make an informed decision. And like you were just saying, it's all about service. You get so much more by serving. So, of course, Canadian government was a little difficult. Our place did get raided. I owned properties, and banks called out my mortgages. It was a battle for sure. About 10 years ago, 10 years ago. But I always figured with the Indigenous, I thought, they care about their people. I mean, the government was created by I don't know who, but we're the people, and we're supposed to govern ourselves, and we're supposed to serve everyone. So I put it out there to the spirits. I meditated. I'm a spiritual person, and Oni Canoe Sinclair came into my life, and I just knew it would be somebody. I just knew it would take the Indigenous group to really make a difference. And like I said, I was here yesterday on stage saying that we have an opportunity to make a difference in our community. And like anybody here will say, people came into, it's almost like we were like family, right? When people came into your dispensaries, it's like, oh, I can't believe you're open. I can't believe you're doing this. And wow, you really care about us. And we don't feel bad coming in here, And that's what it's all about, community. And it's all on the Indigenous to really take that back, because I believe if we were to go back in time, you guys had it right the first time, and how all this got created, this reality of where we are today with with all the government rules and regulations that make no sense. And for example, right now we're having difficulties with cannabis, with the testing with Health Canada, and yet they allow tobacco to be sold with all these carcinogens. So do they really care about our community? Does the government really care? And another thing I'm a little bit upset about was that you have everybody here on stage who really care about their community, opening up dispensaries, risking going to jail, like all you guys over there. And then it's almost like the government doesn't really care about the people, right? They're always trying to stop us from doing better. So yeah, Oni Canoe Sinclair was the person that I worked with, and he was the one the spirits came to me, and he's a beautiful soul. I don't know if he's here today, but he really cares about his people, and yeah. So what was the second question? Oh yeah,
if the market has changed
since
for you.
legalization? No, nothing's really changed at all. I feel as though the government has no idea what they're doing. Like I said, the government gave it to the liquor industry. That was so upsetting to me. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It's the number one drug interaction with cannabis is alcohol. When you mix alcohol with cannabis, the saturation in your blood is higher with the THC. So let's say if you take a puff and you drink alcohol, it's like taking 10 puffs, because there's just more concentration in your blood. And some people can hallucinate, and if you mix those two, you're definitely going to get in a car accident. So, and yet they give it to the liquor board to be the person who's going to dispense cannabis. Where's the education? I mean, nobody's talking about the risks at all. And as for the liquor board, they have 10 days of holiday cheer during Christmas, so they actually advertise for us to consume more during times when there's more accidents on the roads during Christmas. That to me just baffles me. We should be brown paper bagging the industry, and what I mean by that is that if you want to come in, I'm going to give you what you want, but I'm not going to promote you to consume more or do other drugs, So, yeah.
So for the other panelists, is the legalization of recreational cannabis more challenging now for your business?
Well, I wanted to just mention that when you look at the Alberta liquor cannabis thing they have online, it says non-medicinal. So there's recreational and medicinal. With ICMD, we're medicinal. And when recreational runs out, you can go to Tyendinaga, who do things different to get your marijuana, or under us as a medical prescription, there's like a back order that it will never run out because it's medicinal. So we want to make sure that we are using it in a healing way. And as you know, a lot of people do it recreationally, which is great. And we want to just make sure that, that our people are taken care of. Yeah. And I have a video if you want to play it.
Yeah,
We
we'll
could do
let
it later.
Jamie and Rob answer the question if recreational legalization has impacted your business, helped or hindered.
Yeah, I mean, for my establishments, of course, it's affected them in a positive way, though. So obviously, there's the increase of business. It's a lot more steady. People don't feel like they have to hide. People don't feel ashamed. And then there's the obvious thing. You've been told for how many years, no, 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 you're not allowed to. They'll give you fines. They'll send you to jail. They'll take away your kids. And then all of a sudden, it's legal for recreation. So people went from having the minimum, so that if they did by any chance get caught, it was minimal consequences, to I'm allowed to have 30 grams. Well, they'll stand there and they'll rack the rate up to what they're allowed to have traveling down the road. People before used to come in and they'd come in with that stone cold face or their head down or they're, straight in, make their purchase. They didn't want to look up. They didn't want the camera to see them. Now everybody comes in like they're high stepping. You'd swear they just won a scratch ticket in their car before they come in the store. They're right excited, happy as can be, buy as much as they possibly can or can afford to do so. They're smiling, they're willing to have their picture. Like, I had media in my store.
Do they have a prescription though? Like those customers, do they have a prescription? Are they coming
So
into your
at this
dispensary?
point, we've actually had to redo the model with legalization. So prior to the first year that we were open, it was medicinal card, doctor note, or medical reason required. Canada made clear intentions that it was going to legalize. At that point, we went with you would have to say, I guess, humanitarian. So if you walked through the door of my store and asked me for medicine, I don't know about anybody else's culture, but my culture says that it doesn't matter if that's your worst enemy. Give him the medicine today, help him get back on his feet. If you guys decide to be enemies tomorrow, then fight tomorrow. But think about what it took that enemy to come to your front door, knock on it, and ask you for that medicine. So you help that person, no matter what. And then everybody, I think, if anybody's read my bio or knows about my battle, I guess, like you were saying, it's personal. Nothing's going to stop me. It's either going to be a jail cell or a bullet.
Rob?
Yeah, so leading up to the legalization of rec cannabis, it was very stressful for myself and my staff. We really didn't know what was going to happen with our dispensary, and excuse me. But being 8 dispensaries on our reserve, there's probably over 50 Indigenous people employed. In our community, we only have 300 on-reserve members. So the point I was trying to get across is if the police come in here and shut us down, that's a lot of people that are affected, a lot of families in our own community that are affected. So I was very nervous about that. We had lawyers lined up just in case. The staff were nervous. I was nervous. Legalization hit and nothing happened. And we carried on as we previously were, and it's been one heck of a ride. And since legalization's happened, we're seeing an influx of new customers. We're getting between 200 and 250 new people every single day coming in. And these people aren't the people you'd expect. It's not, the younger 19-year-olds coming in. It's the baby boomers. It's grandmas, it's grandpas and aunties, and it's really mind-blowing to see the demographics of all these different types of people that are coming in. And I'm encouraging people to keep coming in because we're providing a clean, pure medicine, and that's what we're focused on. I'm not focused on recreational. In my mind, it's all medicinal. There's a therapeutic effect. You talk to the construction worker that says, "Oh, I just use it. After work, I like to have a puff." You start asking them, "Well, why do you do that?" "Well, it really helps me to unwind and relax." I'm like, "Well, there's your therapeutic effect." And you know what? There's pills for that as well. But you know what? You're choosing a natural plant that was put here by the Creator.
Great, thank you. So we're going to show the two videos, and then we're going to open up the Q&A to the floor for the panel. So let's show the two videos. Is it two? Adam, do you have
Mine's
a video?
a minute, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Just for my own defense, I'm technologically retarded, so there's no slide for me.
Healing is part of who we are as Indigenous people. It's part of our culture, and it's why ICMD exists. ICMD is 100% Indigenous owned and operated. It was created to serve Indigenous communities anywhere in Canada, even the most remote communities, because they believe we all deserve equal care. Through secure video consultations, ICMD helps build custom treatment plans for each person. They walk through ways to help yourself heal, and they deliver all of your prescriptions to you, wherever you live, including cannabis prescriptions. And while ICMD could prescribe opiates and other painkillers, they won't, because they know addiction in our communities is at epidemic levels, and that opioids are a big part of that problem. ICMD is devoted to easing pain, not adding more. No matter where you live, we all deserve care. That's why wherever you live, ICMD is there, putting healthcare in your hands.
Thank you.
Adam. Thank you, Adam.
My video's a little bit longer. I hope it holds your attention, but I really wanted to show everything that we're encompassed about in our community.
I've had nothing but opportunities handed to me to go in any direction I would like.
People are actually family out here. Like I do have a couple cousins that work here, but we definitely are like a family here. Everyone's got everyone's back.
June 21st was our soft launch. And with the store and how it was designed, I wanted to create an atmosphere that was very comfortable for people, very relaxing, kind of therapeutic, where there wasn't any kind of stigma attached to it or any kind of pressures to even buy product. We just wanted people to be able to come in, feel comfortable, and just get education if that's all they're after. So that's what we focused our decor around. It's a very soft, comfortable setting up there. There's no smoking. We don't sell any kind of paraphernalia. Again, we're catering from 19-year-olds all the way up to we've had 90-year-olds come into the store to seek help. And I looked at it from how is the outside community and the outside populace going to look at this endeavor I'm undertaking. And I know there's a lot of stigma around it, so I was trying to evaluate ways to circumvent a lot of issues that could arise. So the first thing was going to the OPP, the local OPP, and explain to them what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and how I'm able to do this. And that was actually received quite well by them. I also went to my community, to my band council, and made a presentation to them, again, showing the benefits of this. And they did give a tacit blessing to proceed forward. And since then, it's just been one heck of a ride and a great experience. And I mentioned in hindsight about not seeing the full benefits of cannabis. I see it every single day now with all the different people that are coming in, and every single day we're hearing a story. We have people coming in crying, our staff are crying with them because it's changing people's lives. There's three things that I truly try to focus on. Number one is community. Number two is our clients that we serve, and number three is our staff. And within that subgrouping, so we have three categories, and within that subgrouping, my three other concerns within each of those is, ensuring that we are offering a healing medicine and being, seen as a healing center. Number two is education.
being able to educate people about the benefits of cannabis and trying to erase that stigma. And, we get some people that still have issues with cannabis, and I totally respect their opinions. It's just lack of education, and that's what we're really trying to do, is educate people. And then the third thing is safety. So product safety. We want to ensure that we're providing the cleanest, safest medicine possible in a safe environment for purchasing that product as well. So that's what we've been really focusing on. All of our endeavors, all of our innovations and developments have all been based around those three things: community, customers, and our staff. In Alderville here, in my age group, there wasn't a lot of culture growing up. Fortunately now, my kids are getting introduced to this culture at a much younger age than I had the opportunity to. So I saw a need to reinvigorate myself, my staff, and the community. And the number one way I see of doing this is by taking back our language and learning our language.
It really brings people together if we can do things where we're engaging people. When we're all having fun, laughing, you get a bunch of Anishinaabe around, sitting around. It's not long. Everyone's gut busting laughing. Your cheeks hurt because you're laughing so hard. And that's what's really good, is when people talk about reconciliation and all these things. Part of that is us with ourselves, being kind to ourselves, coming together with our own people. The state of things now is that there's no teachers, especially with the boards. They want everyone to have their credentials, but it's at the point now where anyone that can speak the language, they really need people. I mean, you want to do it in a way that you're going to keep doing it. You look forward to it, and doing things the old way, where we're just reading the old words off the list, you got a word list. I mean, you'll learn that way, but it's painful. And you're not going to look forward to it. Every business that we have, we should be speaking our language. We are the people, regardless of what we're doing. In our language there aren't connotations the same way that there is in those colonial languages. We can transfer knowledge in this language as quickly, efficiently, effectively as possible. Because we don't have time. We need to get people engaged. We need to keep people engaged. They need to stay engaged.
This could be done anywhere as far as I'm concerned. And this is what I'd really like to emphasize to people, is that we can do this on our own. We don't need outside entities, outside corporations, white money coming in to help us do this. When we can do this ourselves, we can be self-sustainable and create our own economy, help our own people, and get off the coattails of the government. We are a sovereign nation, and as a sovereign nation, we need to stand up for our right to be able to do this. Again, this is a natural plant that has cannabinoids in it, and we have an endocannabinoid system. But we focus on full spectrum, our whole plant medicine. So that means when we make a product, we're using that whole plant. We're not isolating it or distilling it to get just THC or just CBD. Reason for that is I believe the plant has a spirit, and we want that whole spirit of that plant when we're using it as a medicine. So we want that whole profile of that plant in it.
The first thing we really want to do is ensure that the product is up to par in terms of quality. If it's we test and thoroughly analyze all our products here, so we want to ensure that you guys are getting ultimately the best product and it's safe for consumption, right? So usually that undertakes the testing process right away. So when, say in this particular case, when we get flower in, it'll be handed off to Monty, who is the basement manager, and he'll go through his sort of protocol intake, and then at the end of it, it'll be passed up to a lab where it will go through inspection to ensure it's up to par and that it passes quality control.
So usually what we do down here is a lot more of packing. We're doing a lot of packing a lot of the bud most time, packing a lot of the hash, oil. We do a lot of organizing down here as well, try to make things pretty nice and organized. We store our buds in these little sea vaults. We put it in our Bovita packs. That keeps the bud fresh and makes sure it's not getting moldy at all. As you can see, there's the number in there. We try to keep the test number with this as well.
The policies and procedures that we go through here in the lab are pretty basic and simple, but are super imperative and important for the day-to-day process of the store. Nothing that comes in the store doesn't come through the lab for testing or inspection to make sure that the quality is there. before it goes out to the floor to the customer. So in this case today, we're inspecting flour. We also look for trace mold on the top. Can come in a mossy form as well. But again, to the naked eye, it could be easily mistaken from trichomes to mold. We'll do a real slow inspection to make sure. We look for many different things under here. Mold, mites, impurities, any kind of powders or residues that could be on the flour. Well, our newest lab that's about to be up and coming will give a complete printout of terpene profiles from each individual strain. Different profiles and different terpenes will have different effects on you, right?
This is the Ethos 4. It's an ethanol closed loop system capable of running 60 pounds of material through in a 10-hour shift. Takes it down to -70, leaving behind all the waxes and undesirable constituents, and resulting in a very pure 80 to 85% THC content extract. The roto evaporator here is another critical component in the system. Of course, it'll recover our ethanol for us and leave us with our final product, which will be that 80 to 85% extract. At this level, with the medicine wheel is very exciting because I'm essentially at ground level extracting the material and creating a product that will help many people, and it's so exciting. I just can't wait to get moving on that.
I think the stigma associated with cannabis products and even using it medicinally is still such a stigmatized topic. So for me, that was something that I really wanted to see how I could be involved in kind of relieving some of that stigma, because I think it's really important. People need to know, and I think a lot of that stigma just comes from like a lack of education around cannabis.
For me, it would be personally the stigma that it makes you a lazy person or it makes you a non-productive person in life.
Indigenous peoples have the right to their traditional medicines and to maintain their health practices, including the conservation of their vital medicinal plants, animals, and minerals. Indigenous individuals also have the right to access, without any discrimination, to all social and health services. Indigenous peoples have the right to own, use, develop, and control the lands, territories, and resources that they possess by reason of traditional ownership or other traditional occupation or use, as well as those which they have otherwise acquired.
Okay, thank you, Rob, for that video. I think it was longer than 4 minutes, but. So we're going to open up the floor for questions to these entrepreneurs involved in medicinal cannabis. And if you can explain where you're from and then ask your question. And please, I know that there's a lot of there's a lot of speeches to be made around this issue, but if we could just stick to questions for the panelists, thank you.
So I'm Steve Miwaski, Serpent River First Nation, and out of respect for the event organizers and the treaty people that we are in their territory right now, I've changed this petition to read that in the spirit of reconciliation, our Indigenous and sovereign and inherent rights need to be recognized, and we support creating a working dialogue going forward. My question to the panel is, would you guys sign this?
Yeah, I'll sign it. And can I sign your chest?
Yeah. My wife would like that. Put your real name on there too.
Right on.
Adam, while we're waiting, can you tell me how you ensure, how does your company ensure that there is quality product and that you don't run out of the quality product in your business?
Well, we work with about 25. Where's Christopher? About 25 different businesses that provide the cannabis, and they all have their quality and all that stuff. But for me, the way we're working is, we're following the rules. But as you know from yesterday, we had 3 Native doctors here. One of them was Dr. Shelley Turner, and she advocated telemedicine as the future for our communities because a lot of them can't reach the inner city. And that's what I'm primarily focused on, is to make sure we can reach everybody and get them what they need, And as you know, a lot of our communities are exercising their inherent rights to run and operate the way they would, the way they've done over hundreds of years. And this is coming to be a political situation again, in another opportunity again that was missed, where from my point of view, when Christopher was talking to me about partnering up with him, there is a responsibility of the government when it comes to taking care of us. And this is one of those important moments where if they had allowed us our inherent right and our way to do things, we would have embraced what we're doing now, and we could help a lot of our communities economically. Because when you look at our poverty rates and our struggles, we could use this as that, connecting us all across Canada. But when it comes to the government dealing with us, the letting us, act in our own interests, we would probably operate this medicine in such a traditional way of respect that they would be afraid of how we're conducting business, because yesterday the chief said, it's not just about economics, it's about the importance and responsibility of taking care of our people. And I think that they've missed an opportunity here with exercising that with us.
Thank you. There's a question, microphone.
I think she was first.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Hi, my name is Faye Zokol, and I am from Wigwimakong. And I'm just wondering about if there's if the AFN or Chiefs of Ontario, if they've put any thought in allowing individuals to invest in this. Like, I think that if we opened our own shares or I think there hasn't been any discussion about that kind of thing. And when we're talking about economics, I'm pretty sure that there are individuals that would be willing to invest in this adventure.
So just a reminder that there is a Cannabis Act, and there are actually pretty stiff penalties for if you're working for a First Nation Economic Development Corporation, to get involved in any production of illicit cannabis or sale of illicit cannabis. So keep in mind that there are legal constraints, and there could be $100,000 fine. There could be days in jail for some of your board members if there was enforcement here. But I'll leave the answers to the rest if you have
the only thing I wanted to say that after the legalization of cannabis, the great thing that happened about that for another opportunity is that now we can grow hemp. And Wade McAdam, Can West Hemp right there, he's a leader and a pioneer. A great way to invest. Hemp is food, textile, medicine, and that is something that you can invest in right now with no penalties whatsoever. And that would be a great investment for the communities to grow hemp as well. Not just cannabis for THC, but I mean, if you do your research on hemp, everybody knows the oil and the plastics and cutting down trees for paper. It's ridiculous. Hemp is the new future for sure right now. So that's one big change that's happened.
To food and oil, like this is a start of changing a lot of what we're consuming around the world. And I was approached in America about a company to come on board to help them with a new cryptocurrency in regards to the involvement of cannabis around the world. And I passed on it because, I'm not doing this for a monetary value. I'm doing this for our communities to help them. So a lot of people try to buy me, but I'm not your token Indian. And we are going to come into that place where you have to make those choices. There's a phrase that I follow called to be or not to be Indian. That is the question. And it's all about the respect. And if you follow your traditional ways like I do with the Anishinaabe people, it's all about respect. And, learning from Taendenega, man, it's always hard to say that. They come from the respect that is so deep from thousands of years, and that's why you don't mess with the Mohawks, because they have, wherever they walk, their ancestors have walked. Ice-T told me, you're lucky to be Indian. And I was like, why? And he goes, wherever you walk, your people walked before anybody came here. He says, I have to go to Africa for that. So these are those things that we respect and follow. And I hope a lot of you will participate that wherever you put your finances in, or your mind, or your spirit.
Thank you. Is any other the panelists?
I was gonna say, and I would have to say, I'm gonna agree with her. If you want to invest. If you want to jump into this business, jump into this business. It doesn't really matter. Sovereignty belongs to you, to me, to the panel. It belongs to us as individuals, as Indigenous people, not corporations, not entities, not the illusion of the governance that is the elected chief and council. They are your rights as Indigenous people from the day your heart starts to beat. You don't need to ask permission from anyone. That's, I think, the biggest misconception here.
I think you can
assert that right and use your chief and council the way they're supposed to be used as your mediators between you as a people and Canada as a governing body.
That's definitely a perspective that we're hearing in the medical cannabis industry. There are organizations, right? There's different organizations. I know that, Rob, you have an organization that's developing in the community. There's also NIMCA. I don't know if anybody's affiliated with NIMCA.
Sorry, having a hard time
the
hearing.
National Indigenous Medical Cannabis
Yes,
Association.
so I'm the president of the Ontario Indigenous Medical Cannabis Association, as well as I'm the spokesperson for the Mississaugas of Rice Lake Cannabis Association. And it's of my view that every single Indigenous person in here can get involved in the cannabis industry at some capacity. And again, this is our sovereign right to be able to do this. The government, they keep talking about reconciliation. What is that? A couple I'm sorries. We haven't seen anything yet. Reconciliation to me is, putting the same kind of effort into revitalizing our language and culture that they did in taking that away from us. And one of the biggest things I think they can do right now is not interfere, butt out and let us control this industry as we see fit. Some communities might want to go the licensed producer route, and that's fine. Some people might not want to do that and grow their own. And I believe it's up to each individual community to decide how they want to do that. But I think it's up to us and the communities to determine that, not the government.
Thank you. This lady's been waiting for a long time to ask her question, please.
Ju kleko hakya ichum saksi tapatsi haklo pitutina. Michelle Corfield, economic advisor in British Columbia for many First Nations. My question to you, and it comes because I was on the College of Physicians and Surgeons when we were discussing access to medical cannabis for the purpose of, and till it became legal. All of you are working in that field, and to my knowledge, and I don't know, and this is what I'm going to ask, is our people are very, very poor on reserves, most of them. I know CBD oil is not cheap nor free. Have you advocated or found a way to have medical cannabis paid for? Because in British Columbia, we have the First Nations Health Authority. I'm not certain what happens east of the Rockies with respect to Indigenous pharmacare, but is it covered? Like, how are people paying for this? Or is this coming off of SA checks? And like,
I can only attest or speak to our community, but we do have a compassion pricing program set up for people outside of the community that might need help financially to pay for their medications. People from our own community, if we have individuals with cancer or severe sickness, we provide that medicine at free of charge.
And also, too, from talking to certain people that handle payments for Native people, that there is communication and dialogue in regards to the cost friendly for our people. And when that happens, because it will, because it's a responsibility of the Canadian government and it's our inherent right to have those lower costs. So right now, you guys are really sitting in a place where someone threw us a fastball and we caught it. What are we going to do for the next play before the next pitch? Because we have to define our place. And there are rules and regulations that the government have to follow. So they're in a process that they're trying to figure out. We're in a process we're trying to figure out. And you have the three doctors that were up here to saying, you have to do this. And they've proven that this is better than any drug that is going to help you out. And these guys are up here to let you know, we got your back. So if you need help, this is the help up here. So the concerns, yes, people are concerned about that, but I guarantee you that through all the process they have to go through, they can't do it overnight, that eventually it will be a follow through into what is respectfully all right.
JB or Alex?
Yeah. So the College of Family Physicians of Canada, one of the main arguments they had 4 years ago when the Supreme Court of Canada said they upheld a court case. It was the Supreme Court of Canada. They said it was a medicine. Back the Health Canada minister, she was really upset about that, saying, well, this wasn't a medicine. And there was guys like us who were saying, wait a minute, we have a lot of anecdotal evidence. Now, that's good enough for an orphan drug, a drug that there's no money to put in to invest, because you can grow marijuana, so you can grow your own medicine. So I'm not going to get into the whole story of it, but to answer your question, it's coming very soon. So what we're doing right now is we're doing research and clinical trials to prove efficacy. Once we do that, we'll get a DIN number, which is a drug information number. Once that happens, then that's going to change the ballgame, and then we'll be able to give the medicine to the people for free. Yeah, awesome.
Jamie?
I don't know, just to add to that, I think, I don't know, I say you want to take my store, Rob's store, any of the stores that exist now in Ontario, that problem ceased to exist the minute you open your doors. The minute you open your doors, you're going to have all of the meds that you need for yourself and your entire community. It is one of the biggest economical booms for both medicine and being able to pay for your community. Cannabis does have the ability to have you, I believe Rob said it, you could get off of, politically, I don't know what you would call it, the nipple of the government. You could take that nipple out of your mouth and actually self-govern, and not just self-govern, prosper and exceed beyond any surrounding community.
And just to add to that, it's like when you look at medicine, there are traditional medicines in our communities across Turtle Island. And, I was talking to Evan Adams yesterday, and he said, Adam, when it comes to cancer in Indians, I said, yeah. And he gave me a number. Man, it was pretty high. So I'm going to say 80%. 80% of Native people go to traditional medicine and they live. So that's how powerful we are in our mind and our spirit, not just by the drugs. So putting all of it together, there's a thing called placebo effect. When you are totally engaged in your healing, like there is a lot of stuff that is just opening right now in regards to who we are as those healers. And once we decide how we're gonna participate with this and connect with it on that level, it's really gonna revolutionize, and pass down these teachings to everybody else who are non-Indian. So, we have to look into the 10-year effect, because Dr. Shelley Turner was saying she needs people or someone to pay for her research. So if somebody came together and they're like, well, I don't know if I can jump on this cannabis bag, I'm not sure. Well, put the investment into the doctor so she can run a clinical trial for us for 4 years, or how many years they need, and let her come back to you with the proof that is more than what anybody's doing. So there's a lot that we have to do. So many things are going to happen from here.
Our session is supposed to end at 10:15. If you have a quick question, we can go to that.
I just have a quick comment. Thank you, panel, for signing this, and I'm going to leave this up at the front for any other participants to sign. Miigwech.
Thank
But
you.
also too, as you guys know, my participation here is to change the stigma, because my whole life I've been trying to change our narrative in Hollywood films. I'm trying to get rid of the drunk Indian and the savage Indian. And now that this responsibility is coming into our hands in our community, I know that the people who are creating the narrative for us don't think we can do it, don't think we're smart. And every time I see like our doctors up here, I'm like, man, we're smart Indians. But I want to work with Health Canada in promoting, healthy videos to show that if we, with their preaching or saying already, is that we're taking cannabis and putting it out in a healthy way. So the people that are dealing it on the streets and lacing it with other products, so the high is a different experience. We're saving our Indians living on the streets. So if we could promote that in a healthy way, we really change the narrative and the stigma that might attach us to this drug. So I hope all of you can partake in that message also and spread it in the community, because I know the leaders have a responsibility to say to their people, no to drugs, no to alcohol. But there's a way to say, be responsible of drugs, be responsible of alcohol, because the access, you can get it on a recreational level. And we have to start telling people to be responsible about that.
Thank you, Miigwech. Anyone else want to make a closing comment for the panel ends?
I guess as a closing comment, it seems I do got all of you sitting here. I guess the main thing would be, this is a right that I feel it should be. You guys should push for this. Everybody should push for this as an Indigenous body. As an Indigenous body, we can do this, and there is strength in numbers. At the end of the day, claim this as a people, not as a governing body, not as a chief and council, not as a corporation, not as an entity, as a people.
As a live spirit and as a female plant.
And the two best people that you could ever imagine have your back, Mother Nature and Mother Earth.
Yeah, I mean, for people to continue like Jamie and I and the other panelists up here, we need support, we need allies, and you guys are our allies. We need your support, and this is an opportunity for Indigenous people to, again, to prosper and to create employment and, you know, live that good life that we're all searching for. So, you know, please look within your hearts and, you know, open your eyes to the opportunities that we have in front of us, and we got to jump on this and take it as our own. Miigwech.
If you don't got a smoke signals, come get one.
I guess what I would like to, I guess what Adam said earlier, it's all about, it's like consciousness. There's a new consciousness right now where truth is really, you can't hide the truth anymore. It's over. And the truth is there for all of us to see. So I guess just live your own truth, serve others, and educate yourselves. Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess, all I can say. And just thank you very much for listening to us and for allowing us to share, because it feels so good sharing, really. Thank you very much.
Miigwech, everybody give the panel a round of applause. So we're going to take a short break. Are we coming back at 10:30? We'll come back at 10:30. Just a short break. And thanks everybody for your patience in getting started. And thank you, panel, for your comments. Miigwech.
Wow.